If that thing had worked the way it was supposed to, you wouldn't be standing here right now." Those words came out of my husband's mouth in the small interrogation room. 10 minutes later, he was the one shaking like a leaf with fear. As always, before we dive into a story with an ending that's going to feel so satisfying, let's do a quick roll call. Type present and tell me which city you're watching this story from in the comments. For everyone who's already liked and subscribed, I pray that God makes your problems easier, widens your income, and keeps you healthy. Thank you, my friends. Now listen carefully to my story. My name is Emily. I've been married to my husband Tom for 8 years, and we have a 6-year-old son named Noah. From the outside, people thought we were that stable, happy couple. Tom worked in sales for a car dealership. I worked part-time as a graphic designer from home. We had a decent house, a kid who laughed a lot, and photos on social media that made everything look perfect. Inside the house, it was a different story. Tom liked control, not the organized kind of control, but the kind that made me feel like a child in my own home. "Did you pay the credit card bill wrong again?" "You're so bad with money, Em. It's better if I handle everything." "You're overreacting. It was just a joke. God, you sensitive." He'd say stuff like that, then give a quick kiss on my forehead in front of other people, like he was the sweetest husband in the world. His mother, Margaret, loved that image of him. To her, Tom was a golden boy. "Tom works so hard for this family," she'd say while sitting in our living room. "You're lucky, Emily. Some women don't have a husband this responsible." Responsible. That word always made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. Because the truth was, I didn't know where our money went. He always said it was investments and business opportunities. Whenever I asked for details, he would sigh. You wouldn't understand, Em. It's complicated. Besides, it's my job as a husband to handle this, right? If I pushed more, he'd raise his voice slightly and say, "I'm stressing him out." So slowly, I stopped asking. The whole thing started when my mom back in my hometown got sick. She lived about 4 hours away by car. Nothing super dramatic at first, but my sister called and said, "She's getting weaker. It'd be good if you could come for a few days, Em. Maybe bring Noah so he can see him." When I told Tom, he paused for a moment. "You want to drive all the way there?" he asked. "Yeah, I'll leave in the morning so it's still bright when I get there. You can't come because of work, remember?" He tilted his head, thinking. "Right, yeah, I have some big clients this week." He went quiet, like he was thinking about something deeper. Then suddenly he smiled. "Okay, we'll get your car checked," he said. "You know how you are with cars. I don't want anything to happen to you on the road." It sounded sweet, but the way he said, "You know how you are," stung a bit. Like I was this clueless person who couldn't do anything right. The day before I was supposed to leave, he came home early. "I'll check the car now," he said, grabbing the keys before I could say anything. "Oil, tires, everything. I want you safe, Em." He went outside, and from the kitchen window I saw him open the hood, then the trunk, then the passenger door. At one point, he bent down near the driver's seat for a long time, leaning half his body inside. "Everything okay?" I called out. "Yeah," he shouted back. "You can't expect miracles with how little maintenance you do, but it'll get you there." I bit my tongue. I hate how he always had to slip in an insult. That night he was different. He cooked dinner, which he never does, spaghetti. He kept looking at me and Noah like he was memorizing our faces. He helped Noah with his homework. He even tucked me into bed, wrapping his arm around my waist. "You know I love you, right?" he whispered. I turned my head, surprised. "Of course." "Good. Don't ever doubt that," he said, kissing my shoulder. If I'm honest, a tiny part of me felt warm. Another part of me felt weird. Something didn't sit right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. The next morning, I got Noah ready for school. We decided Noah would stay with Tom because dragging him 4 hours each way when he had school felt unfair. That was the official reason. The truth was he had insisted on it. He has routine, homework, bedtime, Tom said. Besides, you get anxious driving. You'll be less nervous if you're alone. Right there, that was manipulation number 1, using Noah as leverage and packaging it as what's best for the child. I kissed Noah's forehead at the door. "Be good for Daddy, okay? I'll call you tonight." "Okay, Mommy, bring Grandma cookies," he said, just like any other normal gay. Tom walked me out to the car again, acting like the perfect husband. I topped off the gas and checked the tire pressure. Remember, don't speed, and if you feel sleepy, pull over and rest. "Thanks," I said. "I appreciate it." He leaned in, kissed me longer than usual. "Text me when you get there." I got into the car, started the engine, waved, and pulled out of the driveway. My chest felt tight, but I told myself it was just about my mom being sick and leaving Noah for a few days. About 10 minutes later, I hit a red light. I shifted in my seat, trying to adjust my bag under my legs. That's when I felt it. Something hard and plastic under my seat, near the back. I frowned. When the light stayed red, I quickly reached a hand down. My fingers brushed against something roughly taped there. I bent down more, my heartbeat picking up. It was small, like the size of a power bank, with a little light blinking. Blink, blink, blink. I froze. What is that? The light turned green and the car behind me honked. My hands were shaking as I pressed on the gas and pulled over at the first parking lot I saw, a small convenience store with a few empty spots. I killed the engine, got out, opened the driver's door all the way, and literally got on my knees on the asphalt to reach under the seat. It was a black device with wires, a small blinking light, and some kind of switch. Every crime show I'd ever watched flashed through my head at once. My throat went dry. In that moment, 2 thoughts hit me hard and fast. Number 1, this thing is not supposed to be in my car. And number 2, Tom was the last one messing around in here. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and called the only number that made sense, 911. I sat in the small waiting area at the police station, my hands still trembling. My car was parked outside, surrounded by tape, with a couple of officers keeping people away from it. One of them had already looked inside and told me not to touch anything. A big, middle-aged man with tired eyes and a calm voice came over and sat across from me. He introduced himself as Detective Harris. "Emily, right? I'm going to ask you a few questions. First, how are you feeling?" "Terrified," I replied honestly. I don't know what that thing is, but it was blinking and He nodded. "We've called in the bomb squad to check it. For now, I need you to tell me who had access to your car in the last 24 hours. I swallowed. "Me, my husband, Noah, my son, but he's 6, and maybe neighbors walking by. I don't know. The car was in our driveway." "Anyone else? Mechanics, valet, car wash?" "No, but my husband checked the car last night. He said it was to make sure it was safe for me to drive out of town." Harris's eyes narrowed a little. "He checked it. How long was he alone with the car?" "Maybe 30, 40 minutes, I said. He wrote that down. "Okay, we'll talk more after we know what we're dealing with." About a half hour later, he came back. His face was serious. "Emily, the device under your seat is not something harmless," he said slowly. "It was something that could make your car, let's say, not reach your destination if certain conditions were met." My stomach dropped. "So you're saying..." I'm saying you did the right thing by coming here, he cut in. If you had driven much longer, you might not be sitting here talking to me. The room spun a second. I grabbed the edge of the plastic chair. Who would do that to me? I whispered. He looked me straight in the eye. That's what we're going to find out. But I'll be honest, Emily, whenever we see something like this, we start with the people closest to the victim. Victim. That word made me feel like I was outside my own body. My mind flashed back to Tom leaning into my car, Tom cooking dinner, Tom holding me and saying, "You know I love you, right?" I shook my head. No, he wouldn't. He can be harsh, but he wouldn't. Has your relationship been stable? Asked Harris, voice neutral. I laughed, a short, bitter sound. Depends who you ask. To his mother, we're perfect. To me, it's been a lot of control. He manages all our money. He tells me I'm too emotional whenever I complain. He thinks I'm bad with decisions. Has he ever threatened you? I thought back. Not direct words like, "I'll hurt you," but there were times we argued and he said things like, "If you keep acting crazy, you'll lose everything. I can make sure the court never lets you near Noah if you pull something dramatic." Harris wrote more notes. That's a threat, Emily. I looked down at my hands. I hadn't seen it that way before. I thought it was just him being angry. We're going to send officers to your house to talk to your husband. For your safety, I recommend you don't go back there on your own just yet. Do you have somewhere else you can stay? I thought of my best friend, Lisa, who lived about 20 minutes away. Yeah, I said shakily. I'll call my friend. Lisa opened her apartment door and pulled me into a hug before I even stepped in. I broke down as soon as I felt her arms around me. Hey, it's okay, she whispered. You're safe here. Sit down. Tell me everything. Lisa worked as a paralegal at a small law firm. She was the kind of person who listened first, then calmly broke things down. I told her everything. The car check, the blinking device, the detective, the part about it being something that could make sure I never came home. Her eyes got sharper and sharper as I talked. And Tom was the last one with the car, she asked. Yeah, but that doesn't mean... Lisa, her voice was firm now, you know what this looks like, right? I felt sick. Yes, but it's my husband, the father of my child. She took a breath. Okay, so let's look at it from another angle. You said he handles all finances, right? Yeah. Has he ever pushed you to sign anything you didn't fully understand? I thought back. Sometimes contracts, refinancing stuff. He'd say, just sign, Em, it's for the house, for us. I trusted him. Did he ever mention insurance? She asked, watching my face. I blinked. A few months ago, he said something about updating our life insurance. He was really insistent about me sending my ID photos and signing some forms, said it was to secure Noah's future. Why? Lisa got up and grabbed her laptop because when people do something extreme like whatever that device was, there's usually a big motive, money, debt, insurance, something like that. She started typing, searching through public records and insurance databases their firm had access to. My phone buzzed while she did that. It was Tom. I stared at the screen. 20 missed calls, 10 messages. Where are you? Why is your car at a police station? What did you do, Emily? Answer me. I didn't reply. Then another text came in. If you're trying to frame me for something, you're the one who's going to lose everything. Don't forget who the stable parent is. I showed the messages to Lisa. She frowned. This is good, she said. It shows his mindset. How is that good? I asked. Because he's already trying to flip things, she said. He's making himself the calm, responsible one and painting you as the unstable one. That's manipulation number 2, gaslighting. You're crazy. You did this. If this goes to court, this pattern matters. A few minutes later, Lisa sucked in a breath. Oh my God. I looked up. What? She turned the laptop toward me. There it is. Tom took out a big life insurance policy on you about 3 months ago. The beneficiary is him. The amount is insane for your income level. My head spun again. I didn't sign for that. She scrolled. It says you did. E-signature, but this is exactly the kind of thing that can be forged if someone has access to your documents and email. Emily, if that device in your car was supposed to make sure you never got to your mom's, this policy would pay out to him after you were gone. I covered my mouth. I felt like throwing up. So you're saying... I couldn't even finish the sentence. I'm saying it looks really bad for him, she replied, and very dangerous for you. Later that evening, Detective Harris called. We spoke with your husband, he said. How did he react? I asked, my voice small. He acted shocked, he said. He said he had no idea how that device got in your car. He told us maybe you put it there because you're emotional and like to make scenes. He also mentioned that you've been under stress and might have done something for attention. I swallowed hard. Of course he said that. He also said you've been talking about leaving him, taking your son, and that you've been unstable recently. Is any of that true? I vented to him before about how controlled I feel. I told him once, sometimes I feel like running away, but I never made any real plan. Okay, I want you to know something. This is a pattern we see a lot. When a partner is under suspicion, they often claim the other is crazy or dramatic. We're not making judgment based on only what he says. Did you tell him about the device? I asked. He claimed he checked the car only for your safety, he said, but we found something else. He'd made a call to a certain number the day before. That number belongs to a guy already on our radar for selling illegal gadgets. We're digging into that. In the meantime, I'd advised you not to meet your husband alone. After I hung up, my phone lit up again. Tom. This time, I answered. What are you doing? He shouted immediately. The police? Really, Emily? Are you out of your mind? I took a breath. There was a device under my seat, Tom. It wasn't some joke. They said it could have made sure I never came home. You were the last one with the car. You think I'd do that to you? He snapped. To the mother of my child? God, you're insane. Maybe you put it there. Maybe your family did it. Your mom never liked me. My mom is sick, I said quietly. She barely leaves her bed. Whatever. You're trying to spin this. Let me tell you something, Em. If you keep dragging my name through the mud, I will fight for Noah. I will tell the court how unstable you are, how you fabricate stories. You'll lose. You know I have the income and the house in my name. My hands clenched. The house is in both of our names. On paper, maybe, but everyone knows who paid for it. You really want to play this game? He hung up before I could respond. I stared at my phone. For a few seconds, I went completely quiet inside. Then the quiet turned into a hot anger. He's threatening custody already, I told Lisa. He's saying I'll lose Noah if I keep this up.
That's manipulation number 3, Lisa said, using your kid as a weapon. Emily, you cannot back down now.
What do I do? I whispered. She looked me straight in the eye. We set a trap, she said, but we do it legally. We get proof of what he's saying when he thinks no one is watching. We work with a detective. We use his own arrogance against him.
The next day, we met with Detective Harris at the station. Lisa came with me. Harris spread some papers on the table. "We have the report from the bomb squad," he said. "The device was real. It could have been triggered by movement and time. Whoever put it there knew what they were doing." He showed us printed call logs. "These are Tom's calls," he said. "You see this number? Same one I mentioned. We're building evidence that he contacted someone to buy that device, but it's still not enough for a slam dunk case. We need something more direct, words from his own mouth, a confession." Lisa leaned forward. "What if Emily meets him and we record it? She can pretend to be scared and apologetic. Maybe he'll let something slip, especially if he thinks he's winning." Harris thought about it. "We can't ask you to risk yourself, Emily, but if you're willing, we can wire you up in a controlled location. There would be officers nearby. The goal would be to get him to talk about the device and about the insurance." I felt my heart pounding. The idea of seeing Tom again made my skin crawl, but the idea of doing nothing, of letting him twist the story until I lost my child and maybe my life, that felt worse. "I'll do it," I said. "What do I have to say?" "We'll help you," Harris said. "You act like you want to fix things. You say you don't want to involve the police anymore. You ask why he did it in a way that sounds like you already know it was him. Some people get bold when they think they've gotten away with something." Lisa squeezed my hand under the table. "We'll be right outside," she whispered. 2 days later, I sat in our living room again, wearing the same T-shirt Tom always said was cute on me. Underneath it, taped near my collarbone, was a tiny recorder the detectives had provided. Tom walked in with an expression somewhere between anger and relief. "So you finally came home," he said. I kept my eyes down. "I just wanted to talk. I'm tired of all this." He snorted. "You're tired, Emily? You dragged the police into our private life." I swallowed. I had to make this believable. "I was scared," I said softly. "The thing under my seat, I freaked out. But you know what the detective said? They said maybe it was my imagination about you, that maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I am." His face relaxed a little. He liked hearing that. "That's what I've been saying. You blow things out of proportion. You let your anxiety run the show." I took a breath. "Tom, if it was you, you can tell me. We can fix this. We can say it was a mistake or a prank that went too far. I won't push charges. I won't cooperate with them. I don't want you to go away. You're Noah's father." He stared at me, his eyes sharp, trying to read me. "You think I'd say yes to that?" he said slowly. "I just want to understand," I whispered. "They found that policy, Tom, the one you took out in my name, the one that gives you all the money if anything happens to me. They showed me." His jaw tightened. "So they're digging around in everything now?" "Why did you need that much money?" I asked. "Is it debt? Is someone threatening you?" His eyes flashed for a second. That tiny flash told me way more than his words. "You don't know what pressure I'm under," he voice raised. "You sit here in your little freelance world while I carry everything. The house, the bills, the mess I got into before we even married. You think money magically appears in the account?" I felt a cold chill. "What mess?" "People who don't play around," he muttered, then caught himself. "Look, it doesn't matter. I had a plan." My heart hammered. A plan? He looked at me with this mix of anger and pity. "It was supposed to be simple," he said. "You drive out, something happens on the road, you never come back. Insurance pays out, Noah is taken care of, I clear my debts, everyone cries about the tragedy, and then life moves on. But no, you had to digging under your seat like some detective." My ears rang. I almost forgot I was supposed to keep him talking. "So the device? It was you?" I whispered. He rolled his eyes. "Who else? The neighbor? Your sick mother?" I felt tears spill down my cheeks, and for once, they weren't acting. "You were going to get rid of me for money?" I said. Tom, I've been sleeping next to you for 8 years. You should be grateful I thought about Noah's future, he snapped. If that thing had worked the way it was supposed to, you wouldn't be standing here right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation. The mess would be over. Instead, now I've got cops sniffing around and you playing the victim. There it was, the sentence that would later become the hook of this whole story. I looked at him for a long second, feeling my heart crack into pieces. I need some air, I said, standing up. You're not going to the police again, are you? He sneered. Because if you do, I swear, Emily, I will make sure you never see Noah again. I will tell everyone you planned this, that you're unwell. My mother will back me up. Everyone believes her. I wiped my cheeks. We'll see who they believe. I walked out, my legs shaking. On the street, 2 unmarked cars were parked. Detective Harris stepped out of one as soon as he saw me. Did we get something? He asked. I nodded, still in shock. He admitted everything. Harris gave a small, grim smile. Good. Then now, Emily, we move to the next step. The next day, Tom was called into the station to clarify some inconsistencies. Margaret insisted on coming with him, insisting to everyone that her son was being framed by a dramatic wife with too much imagination. They put us in a small room with a table and 4 chairs. Tom sat on one side with a public defender they'd assigned for questioning. Margaret sat behind him. I sat on the other side with Lisa and Detective Harris. Tom looked at me like he could burn a hole through my face. Can we be done with this? He said. My wife and I had a fight. She overreacted. We're wasting everyone's time. Harris pressed a button on a small recorder on the table. We're just going to review what we have so far, he said, starting with the expert report in the financials. He laid out photos of the device, the wiring, the placement under the car seat. The device was real and dangerous, he said calmly. It was wired in a way that could have made the car stop working in a very permanent way after some time on the road. Your fingerprints are on the tape used to fix it under the seat, Tom. Tom scoffed. Of course my prints are on the car. It's our car. On the tape, Tom, Harris repeated, under the seat. And we also have records of you contacting a known seller of illegal devices the day before your wife's trip. Tom shifted in his seat. Yeah, I called him. I was trying to get a GPS tracker for safety, to check where she is. You know how women can go running to their parents after every little argument. Margaret nodded behind him. That's true, Detective. Emily can be very dramatic. I stared at her. Dramatic. That word again. Harris didn't react. He slid another paper across the table. This is a copy of the life insurance policy taken out 3 months ago on Emily. It gives you a very large payout if she never returns. Her signature appears here, but our forensic team has strong reasons to believe it was done without her knowledge. Tom laughed, but it sounded strained. We updated our policies as a family. Are you going to arrest every husband who tries to protect his family? Protect? Lisa said softly beside me. By planning for your wife to never come home? He glared at her. Who are you again? Her friend and a paralegal, someone who reads a lot of cases like this. He rolled his eyes. Let me guess, Detective, he said, turning back to Harris, because so far all I see is you twisting normal things into criminal acts. Harris looked at him for a second. Funny you mention recordings, because yes, we do have something new. He reached into a folder and pulled out a small USB drive. This, he said, plugging it into a laptop, is a recording taken yesterday at your house. Emily agreed to cooperate with us. She spoke with you while wearing a recording device. Tom's face drained of color for a second, then hardened. You can't. We can, Harris said, and we did. Everyone, please listen carefully. He pressed play. The room filled with our voices from the day before. My small voice. Tom, if it was you, you can tell me. We can fix this. His voice slightly louder. You don't know what pressure I'm under. My voice again. So the device, it was you? His voice. Who else? The neighbor? Your sick mother? And then the sentence that sealed his fate. If that thing had worked the way it was supposed to, you wouldn't be standing here right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation. The mess would be over. The room went quiet when the recording stopped. Tom tried to speak, but no words came out first. Margaret was pale, clutching her purse so hard her knuckles turned white. She tricked me, Tom stammered finally. She provoked me. I didn't mean it like that. I was under stress. You know how couples fight. Harris cut him off. Tom, we have your call records, the device, your prints, the life insurance, and now your own words explaining the plan. This is not a simple marital argument. His defender leaned in, whispering urgently in his ear. Tom's face twisted. This is a setup. You're all against me, he shouted suddenly. She's been unstable for years. Ask my mother. Ask anyone. She probably put that thing there herself and is framing me for the payout. Margaret finally found her voice. That's right, she said, voice trembling. Emily has always been sensitive. She cries a lot. She makes everything big. Tom is a good man. He wouldn't... A knock on the door interrupted her. Another officer came in and handed Harris a paper. He skimmed it and nodded. Right on time, he said. We also have a statement from your mechanic, Tom. He says you came to him a month ago asking how to make a car look like something failed on the road without it being obvious. He refused. He also gave us CCTV footage of that conversation. Tom's mouth opened and closed, but nothing came out. Harris turned to another file.
And we have a statement from one of your co-workers at the dealership, he continued. He overheard you on the phone telling someone, once the money comes in after her accident, I'll clear what I owe you. He didn't understand at the time, but now it makes a lot more sense. Margaret covered her mouth. Tom, tell me this isn't true. Tom slammed his fists on the table. I did it for us, he shouted. For you, for Noah, for our future. I was drowning in debt and she never helped. She spent her days at home drawing stupid logos while I carried everything. I stared at him, feeling both fury and a strange calm. You planned to make sure Noah grew up without a mother, I said quietly. Don't talk about doing it for him. He looked at me like I'd betrayed him, which was insane. 2 officers stepped forward. Tom Miller, you're under arrest for attempting to get rid of your wife and related charges, one of them said. You have the right to remain silent. Tom tried to stand up, to argue, but his legs seemed to lose strength. He went pale, then red, then pale again. This isn't over, Emily, he shouted as they cuffed him. You'll regret this. I'm the victim here. I was desperate. The door closed behind him. Margaret sat there, shaking silently. She looked much smaller than she usually did in my house, where she acted like a queen. After a long silence, she turned to me. I didn't know it was this bad. I knew he had money problems. I pushed him to fix it, but I never thought he'd go that far. I believed her and didn't, both at the same time. I hope you tell the truth if anyone asks, because your opinion always mattered more than mine in this family. She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. I was wrong about you. I thought you were weak, dramatic, but you're stronger than I ever gave you credit for. I didn't answer. I didn't know what to say. The legal process after that took months. Tom was officially charged. The lawyers argued. They tried to paint him as under financial stress and not serious about going through with it, but the evidence was clear. The device, the calls, the insurance, the recording, it all told the same story. The judge granted me a restraining order. Tom wasn't allowed anywhere near me or Noah. In the custody hearing, his lawyer tried to argue that I was unstable for daring to record my own husband. The judge basically shut that down. Recording a spouse who is suspected of planning something this serious is not instability, it's self-protection. In the end, I got full custody of Noah. Tom was allowed only very limited supervised contact by video for a while, but even that was on hold until the criminal case was fully settled.
People who used to look at me like I was lucky to have Tom started avoiding talking about him at all. Some neighbors apologized for ever believing he was the good guy and I was too emotional. Margaret came by once months later. She brought cookies for Noah and sat at my kitchen table. "I'm going to therapy too," she said quietly, twisting a tissue in her hands. "I spent my whole life defending my son no matter what he did. I didn't see the harm he was capable of. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you sooner." I nodded. "Thank you for saying that." We weren't suddenly close. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight, but at least she stopped calling me dramatic. Eventually, I sold the house. It held too many bad memories. With the help of Lisa and some good financial advice, I moved back closer to my hometown, closer to my mom and my sister. I started taking on more design clients, slowly rebuilding my life. Noah adjusted better than I expected. Kids are resilient when they feel safe. "Mom," he asked me one night, "why doesn't Dad live with us anymore?" I took a deep breath and pulled him close. "Because Dad made some very bad choices, and until he learns how to be safe and kind, he can't live with us. But you are loved and you're safe here. That's what matters." He nodded, accepting it in the simple way kids do. From everything that happened, I learned that when something feels wrong, you can't keep ignoring it just because you're scared of what you'll find. You can love someone and still recognize that they're dangerous to you, and it doesn't make you disloyal to protect yourself. If you're in a situation like mine, please don't let anyone gaslight you into doubting your own safety. Get help, know you're right, and document everything. If you've been through something similar or want to share your own story, write it in the comments. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, hit the like button, and subscribe so you don't miss the next stories.